door. 5, 6. It really stinks.
All right, ready or not? Here we go. And once again, I forgot to change the darn thing to the new one. Note to self,
Sorry.
do that. Duh. Alright. Anyway, good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday night, aka Hump Day, here at Beyond the Airways Leveling Up. And since it's Wednesday, that means it's time for Warzone Wednesday. We're going to have stories that'll make you laugh, think, cry, get upset, and we'll probably fire off at least one Supernova Rant Rocket tonight because there's been a lot of breaking news today already. So,
Okay, Shirley,
yes.
do your little thing with Mike
Excuse me.
first.
Okay. Well, anyway, Mike. Let's face it, Hump Day and Mike will always be forever intertwined.
Not for me. It's more intertwined with something I probably can't go into detail on during the broadcast.
Okay, that's fine.
Unless we stop broadcasting on Twitch,
Right.
which obviously we won't.
At least not until after 10. All right, anyway, let's go to the intros. I'm your host for tonight. I am Oddball Extreme. I'm currently joined in line by 4 of my crazy cohorts. Well, actually, 3 at the moment, but I'll explain that in a minute. Anyway, first, we have our master and creator, Frodo. Hello, Frodo.
I'm alright. How are you guys?
Good.
It's probably full of pizza.
No, actually, I just took a short nap because of how I was feeling a little earlier. I
Ah,
think I know what caused that, John.
the
The
pizza?
tiki drink you had
Yeah,
before
the
we tried to
tiki drink.
finish.
Ah,
Having that tiki drink combined with possibly my Prozac may have enhanced the tiki drink just a little bit.
Oh boy,
oh boy. All
that'll
right.
do it.
Anyway, also have a resident joker, Mike. Hello, Mike.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday.
To
No
my
gaming.
yeah, to my, to my bottom left we have a
Too
resident
late.
Ford Mustang, John. Hello, John.
Hey, Shirley.
And currently away, as you can see by the missing person here, our quiet one, Janet. But she had to take a phone call. I had to do something with her mom. She should be back shortly. But as I've been telling you, since her mom's back from the hospital, she may have to go back and forth. So this is fine. And Sajo's in the chat room as well. Hey, Sajo.
Hey, Sandro.
All right, let's start things off right now with actually really current news, as
Mm-hmm.
in current as of 45 minutes ago.
Breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
We got some breaking news.
Go for it, dude.
A Manhattan grand jury has indicted the Trump organization and its chief financial officer, Alan Weiselberg, or
Mm-hmm.
officials, some sources are saying.
On what
That,
charges?
let me pull it up here. Give me one moment.
If you can, share it in the Zoom chat so I can look at it.
It's on CNN and it's on my phone.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm able to find it real quick.
Well, thank you.
All right.
There it is. Found it.
Can you share it?
Yeah.
Please?
Give me just a second higher.
Nothing's gonna
Hey.
come of it.
Uh-oh. Hold on.
What's going on?
Okay.
Nothing's gonna come of that indictment.
How do you know? Okay. All right, John. You're gonna get the chat in the chat. I'll get it right. My brain ain't working.
Hold on just a minute before you get started. Frodo, this is the battery thing to my old laptop.
Yeah. Is it puffed at all?
What?
Is it
No,
puffy?
it's not.
All right,
See?
then it's fine to keep it around.
Well, I'm going to donate the computer as soon as I can get the hard drive out. Okay, carry on.
Janet, were you talking about the indictment against against Trump organization that happened just recently? That better not stick, because this is clearly just okay. I'm gonna rant just a little bit. It's not gonna be real long, but if you got to fire off the rant rocket, go ahead.
No,
Okay.
don't. Not yet. We got bigger stuff to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I got to say this: Donald Trump is not guilty of anything except the following: one, being a billionaire who got lampooned as a rich moron as far back as the 80s; two, daring to run against Hillary Clinton, who was supposed to be a shoe-in as the first female president, and on whose coattails Democrats could continue to ride; and three, having the temerity to win against her when the Democrats made the mistake they wouldn't fess up to, which was acting like the hare in the race of the tortoise and the hare. By that, I mean they counted their chickens before they hatched and thought that they could get away with demeaning a good deal of their voter base during the 2016 election, thinking that Hillary was guaranteed because people were too afraid of being labeled sexist to vote against her. In which point, or at which point, they angered Republicans enough that they voted in large enough numbers to elect Donald Trump, and ever since they've been trying to discredit him and otherwise to harass him for daring to take what should have been history to them.
Um, if I may do a counterpoint,
All right.
okay, I agree with most everything you said. Okay, but I am gonna say this: it should have never been Hillary Rodham Clinton as the presidential nominee, because in my opinion, and this has been verified both on TV and in records, Bernie should have won. And I'm sorry if you think I'm stupid for saying this, John, but I backed Bernie because I think, and I still do, I think he's still a great person and still would make a great president. Okay.
I know.
But the reason I back Bernie is not because he's counterculture or anything, but because I think he has great ideas. Okay. Get rid of student debt. Good idea. Put more money into circulation. Okay. Uh,
Um, Frodo, that's a story for another matter. That's actually a debate you and I should have one more War Room Wednesday: the merits of Bernie Sanders as president. But the point is,
but
they've been saying Trump did all kinds of things bad during his presidency, and mostly they've been nitpicking and pulling shit out of context.
can
With
I just say,
sure, sure,
okay, I personally did vote for Hillary, but that's only because I genuinely feared my uh continued existence with Donald Trump. Am I glad that his presidency's over? Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm glad. But I had very logical reasons to fear because even though I'm a white Caucasian man, right? I'm still my lower class because of the fact that I have disabilities.
hmm,
And as far as I heard from him, especially during the 2016 run through, and especially with that, the one thing that I don't think you can defend away, John, is his disrespect of that disabled New York Times
actually, I
reporter.
can and would, but that's a story for another time, Frodo.
No,
Uh,
no, no. I'm just saying. For when he did that with that New York
yeah,
Times.
and the thing you got to understand, Frodo, is a lot of people took that out of context. Like I said, debating over that kind
Yeah,
of thing, that's a
debating
story
over
for
that
another time.
is another day. Yes, you're
Yeah.
right. But what I'm saying is when that situation occurred, okay, that that is the precise second that Donald Trump lost my support.
Right.
I
I
I
understand, Frodo.
I'm sorry. I cannot, will not, and do not support people in any way who think that people with disabilities do not deserve rights. You, me, Mike, Shirley, Janet, if people with disabilities didn't have any rights, this show wouldn't exist.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Okay,
Um,
that's my viewpoint. I'm sorry if I'm offending you, but
you're
we
not
we
offending me at all, Frodo. I think I want to offer counterpoints, and right now is not the time.
Okay, now
I
there is something we need to tell you about in this article. Trump himself is not expected to be charged.
okay. Well, the thing of it is, yeah, made himself. Trump did things that made him unpopular, but the fact is, the Democrats have basically been trying to kick him out with uh, a cleated boot ever since he got into office. And now it sounds like they're basically trying, despite the fact that he's out of office and been out for half a year, they're trying to make him regret ever having gone into office in the first place, which is just petty. So I really hope you're right, Jan, that this accusation will not stick. Because the fact is, this sounds primarily like somebody's trying to trump up a charge to set an example.
Okay, well, I've got the
But let's go to
article.
the article.
I got the article up, and this courtesy of CNN, and this was reported. Get out of the way. Uh, 9:55 Eastern, 8:55. That's less than 20 minutes ago. Good. All right. So anyway, here's what's going on. A Manhattan grand jury today indicted the Trump Organization and its chief financial officer Alan
Why don't I
Weisselberg.
read this one
Okay, sure.
just for a change?
Okay.
CNN. A Manhattan grand jury on Wednesday indicted the Trump Organization and its chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, according to the people familiar with the matter. The charges, which, quote, people familiar with the matter, unquote, told CNN earlier Wednesday are related to alleged tax crimes in connection with an array of perks and benefits awarded to employees, are expected to be unsealed Thursday. It was not immediately clear how many charges are in the indictments. How nice. Hopefully, we find out more on that. Though former President Donald Trump faced multiple federal and state prosecutorial inquiries during his administration, the district attorney's indictment would be the first to charge his namesake company with criminal conduct. I wonder why. Trump himself isn't expected to be charged, his lawyer has said. Yeah, that's a big perk. The Wall Street Journal first reported the expected charges. Weisselberg is expected to turn himself into prosecutors Thursday morning, two sources with knowledge told CNN. Interesting how they haven't cited them yet. Mary Mulligan, a lawyer for Weisselberg, declined to comment. A spokesman for Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance declined to comment. How nice. A lawyer for the Trump Organization didn't respond to a request for comment. In other news, the sun rises in the east and the sky is blue during the day. The expected charges are set to come after lawyers for the Trump Organization met twice with prosecutors in recent days to present arguments about why the company shouldn't face criminal charges. And they will come after more than 2 years of investigation that began with an inquiry into the accounting connected to hush money payments made by former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen and expanded to include questions about whether the company or certain employees paid taxes on benefits, including rent free apartments, car leases, or private school tuition. Prosecutors have also scrutinized cash bonuses paid to employees and whether appropriate taxes were paid on them, CNN reported Wednesday. Though prosecutors have focused on Weisselberg in an effort to coax him into cooperating with their investigation, his lawyers recently informed the district attorney's office that he would not cooperate, people familiar with the matter said. Interesting. It'll be interesting to find out, if we ever do, who those people are. An indictment against him would likely significantly increase the pressure on him to comply with prosecutors' demands. However, a source familiar with the matter says the pressure on Weisselberg has not been successful for a reason. Consider the possibility that Allen has nothing to flip on, the source said. What a shock. Investigators' scrutiny of Weiselberg began late last year as prosecutors gathered evidence on him with the assistance of his former daughter-in-law, Jennifer Weiselberg. Since then, she has turned over boxes of financial records and has met with investigators multiple times, her lawyer Duncan Levin told CNN. Boy, I hope she was authorized to do that. On Wednesday, Levin said she was pleased to learn of forthcoming charges against her former father-in-law and his longtime employer. What a shock. We have been working with prosecutors for many months now as part of this tax and financial investigation and have provided a large volume of evidence that allowed them to bring these charges, Levin said. We are gratified to hear the DA's office is moving forward with a criminal case. In recent weeks, as prosecutors have inched closer to bringing charges, Trump has lashed out at their inquiries, deriding the probe, led by Vance and New York State Attorney General Letitia James, both Democrats, as conducted by radical left officials. Having politically motivated prosecutors, people who actually got elected because they will quote get Donald Trump unquote, is a very dangerous thing for our country, he said in a statement earlier this week. Why would anyone bring their company to New York or even stay in New York knowing these radical left Democrats would willingly target their company if viewed as a political opponent? It is devastating for New York. This story has been updated with additional reporting Wednesday.
Yeah, and
End.
it's still breaking, so there's probably going to be plenty more tomorrow.
Okay. I'm basically seeing Trump's point of view on this. The fact of the matter is, these charges, admittedly, it's definitely possible CNN genuinely doesn't know much, but for them to use phrases like people familiar with the matter, this really makes it sound like this whole story is spurious. Fact is, this does sound like somebody is trying, no pun intended, to trump up charges against Trump, like I pointed out earlier, to make him regret having had the temerity to hold political office when it should have been Hillary Rodham Clinton or possibly Bernie Sanders.
I'm not.
Fact of the matter is, sorry,
I was
I'll,
gonna say I'm not dis. I'm not gonna say that the country didn't take on with Trump. Okay, it did, but you you can understand my perspective of having fear. You know,
yes, I can, Frodo, and I wouldn't recommend going into detail on that because I think why you have fear is probably not an issue to be brought up on live broadcast. But the fact of the matter is,
yeah,
the things people have accused Trump of doing that make him this uncouth monster, basically all of them have been taken out of context. What Trump is a brash billionaire who basically expects his employees to get results, and he disciplines up to and including terminating them if they don't. The Democrats are used to a situation like this line out of the movie Ghostbusters. Personally, I like the university. They gave us money and facilities. We didn't have to produce anything because that's how it worked for them. Government gave them money and facilities in the form of subsidies, and they didn't have to do shit with it. Then comes along Trump, who wants them to do their job and wants them to produce. They don't like that. So,
Yeah. Oh, by the way, before you go on, Dragon Zero on One is also in the chat.
oh, cool.
I know who that is.
Yeah.
Hey
They
Jay.
have anything good
Hey
to say?
JC, how are you? That's JC from Facebook.
Yeah, I remember. I remember.
Cool.
He's been on our show
Yeah,
before.
JC
So.
Calloway. He's
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah,
How
that's
are you
fine.
doing, JC?
Yay.
Hi, JC. Hey, Shirley, did you see what I typed to you in Facebook chat?
Yeah, a police chase involving one pickup truck and 11 police cars? Oh, God.
Yep. When the pursuit was over, I counted that truck being surrounded by 11 police cars.
Eek.
It was
But
going
yeah,
down I-17.
Hmm.
So, what they discover was in the truck they were chasing.
Well, I don't know. It was live.
Live breaking.
Live breaking.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but let's see.
Um,
We got that. Then we also have the other big news. Bill Cosby has been released from prison after the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned his conviction.
well, you got the article?
Yes, I do.
Well,
Honestly, I'm
if it
gonna say this if I can without offending someone, but you know, I understand he's 80 something years old, but
I don't think he should have gotten out either. That's just
well,
me.
now hold on a minute. Let's see why they overturned it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Bill
I put the,
Cosby freed as court overturns his sex assault conviction. The entertainer had been serving a 3 to 10-year prison sentence in a prison outside Philadelphia. Bill Cosby was released from prison Wednesday after the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned his 2018 conviction for sexual assault, a dramatic reversal in one of the first high profile criminal trials of the Me Too era. The court's decision seemed likely to end the Pennsylvania case, legal experts said, and while more than 50 women across the nation have accused Mr. Cosby of sexual assault and misconduct, statutes of limitations on their cases make further prosecutions unlikely. Mr. Cosby had served 3 years of a 3 to 10-year prison sentence, so he already served enough time, at a maximum security prison outside Philadelphia when the court ruled that a, quote, non prosecution agreement, unquote, with the previous prosecutor meant that Mr. Cosby should not have been charged in the case. Mr. Cosby, 83, returned to his home in suburban Philadelphia Wednesday afternoon, where, looking frail and walking slowly, he was helped inside by his lawyer and a spokesman. He flashed a V sign as he reached his front door, hopefully meaning the peace sign.
hmm
The court's decision overturned the first major criminal conviction of the Me Too era, which came soon after allegations of sexual assault had been made against the powerful Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. Weinstein, sorry. Keep wanting to pronounce it German. The accusations and eventual conviction of Mr. Cosby stunned the nation, painting a disturbing portrait suggesting that a man who had brightened America's living rooms as a beloved father figure had been a sexual predator. The case against Mr. Cosby began with his arrest in 2015 on charges that he had drugged and sexually assaulted a woman at his home in the Philadelphia suburbs 11 years earlier. In April 2018, the jury convicted Mr. Cosby of 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault against Andrea Constant, to whom Mr. Cosby had been a mentor and who was at the time a Temple University employee. Miss Constant had praised the guilty verdict at the time, saying, "Truth prevails," and the National Organization for Women called it a notice to sexual predators everywhere. But Mr. Cosby's lawyers, who had said at the time that allegations against Mr. Weinstein would make it difficult for them to receive a fair trial, later suggested in an appeal that the outcome had been influenced by what they described as a period of public panic, or quote, public panic, unquote. In a statement issued with her lawyers, Ms. Constant said Wednesday that the court's ruling was, quote, not only disappointing, but of concern in that it may discourage those who seek justice for sexual assault in the criminal justice system from reporting or participating in the prosecution of the assailant, or may force a victim to choose between filing either a criminal or civil action. In their 79-page opinion, the judges wrote that a previous prosecutor's statement that Mr. Cosby wrote that a previous prosecutor's statement that Mr. Cosby would not face charges, which paved the way for Mr. Cosby to testify in a civil trial, meant that he should not have been charged in the case. It was a 6-1 ruling, with 2 of the judges of the majority dissenting on the remedy, which barred a retrial. Well, I'll get to that later.
Yeah.
The case began in 2005 when Mr. Cosby was investigated in the case of Miss Constant, and a former district attorney of Montgomery County said that he had given Mr. Cosby his assurance that he would not be charged in the case. The former district attorney, Bruce L. Castor Jr., announced in a news release at the time that after an investigation he had found, quote, insufficient, unquote, evidence. He later testified that he had given Mr. Cosby the assurance to encourage him to testify in a subsequent civil case brought by Miss Constant. A civil suit she filed against Mr. Cosby was settled in 2006 for $3.38 million. In that testimony, Mr. Cosby acknowledged giving quaaludes to women he was pursuing for sex, evidence that played a key part in his trial after Mr. Castor's successors reopened the case and charged Mr. Cosby in December of 2015. This was just days before the 12-year statute of limitations expired in the case, and it came amid a number of new allegations from women who brought similar accusations of drugging and sexual assault against Mr. Cosby. In light of these circumstances, the subsequent decision by prosecutors by successor DAs to prosecute Cosby violated Cosby's due process rights, the appeals ruling said. Mr. Cosby posted a picture of himself with a fist raised above his head and his eyes closed on Twitter, writing, "I have never changed my stance nor my story. I have always maintained my innocence." Mr. Castor, who this year served as a lawyer for President Donald J. Trump during his second impeachment trial, said after the ruling was delivered on Wednesday that he believed his decision in 2005 had been, quote, exonerated, unquote, by the ruling, calling the verdict a, quote, shellacking, unquote, for the current district attorney's office. "I was right back in 2005 and I'm right in 2021, he said in a phone interview. "I'm proud of our Supreme Court for having the courage to make an unpopular decision." Yeah, he's right about the decision they made.
I'll be right back.
Brian W. Okay. Brian W. Perry, one of the lawyers representing Mr. Cosby, said he was, quote, thrilled, unquote, with the ruling. "To be honest with you, we all believed collectively that this is how the case would end," he said. "We did not think he was treated fairly, and fortunately the Supreme Court agreed." The Montgomery County District Attorney, Kevin R. Steele, said that he hoped the decision would not, quote, dampen the reporting of sexual assaults by victims, unquote. "He was found guilty by a jury and now goes free on a procedural issue that is irrelevant to the facts of the crime," Mr. Steele said in a statement. "I want to commend Cosby's victim, Andrea Constant, for her bravery in coming forward and remaining steadfast throughout this long ordeal, as well as all of the other women who have shared similar experiences." Patricia Stoyer, 65, who accused Mr. Cosby of drugging and assaulting her in 1978 and 1980, said that she had been preparing herself for the possibility that Mr. Cosby's conviction would be overturned, but that she was still, quote, a little stunned, unquote, by the court's ruling on Wednesday. I'm wondering what the 43-year ordeal that I went through was supposed to be about," said Miss Stoyer, who said she found out about the decision on Facebook. But she said that she was, quote, consoled by the fact that I believe we did the only thing we could, which is to come forward and tell the truth, unquote. Scott Berkowitz, the president of RAIN, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, said, "We are deeply disappointed in today's ruling by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court and by the message this decision sends to the brave survivors who came forward to seek justice for what Bill Cosby did to them. This is not justice." Others expressed support for Mr. Cosby. Felicia Rashad, who appeared as Mr. Cosby's wife in The Cosby Show, praised the decision on Twitter. "Finally," Miss Rashad, who was recently named the dean of Howard University's College of Fine Arts, wrote on Twitter, "A terrible wrong is being righted. A miscarriage of justice is corrected." She later wrote, "I fully support survivors of sexual assault coming forward. My post was in no way intended to be insensitive to their truth." The decision undoes a verdict that several women who said that they had been assaulted and raped by Mr. Cosby had praised at the time as a measure of justice that had been long in coming. In a victim impact statement filed with the court in 2018, Ms. Constant had said of Mr. Cosby, "We may never know the full extent of his double life as a sexual predator, but his decades-long reign of terror as a serial rapist is over." And Janice Dickinson, a former model who had told the court that Mr. Cosby raped her in 1982 after giving her a pill, her account was one of five the prosecution presented from women who said he had drugged and sexually assaulted them, said after the sentencing that, quote, "My heart is beating out of my chest at the moment," unquote. "This is fair and just," she said in 2018. "I am victorious." Nice. The issue of whether the trial court had improperly allowed the additional women to testify was not considered because the panel ruled that Mr. Cosby had relied to his detriment on Mr. Castor's promise and then made statements in the civil case that were effectively used as evidence against him. In a dissent, Justice Thomas G. Saylor disagreed that a statement Mr. Castor made in a news release represented an unconditional promise that bound his successor not to prosecute. Justice Kevin Doherty, in a separate opinion in which he was joined by Justice Max Baer, found that though Mr. Cosby's due process rights had been violated when he relied on Mr. Castor's promise and testified in the civil case, the remedy should not have been barring further prosecution, but throwing out the evidence that the prosecution gained from Mr. Cosby's testimony. Whether or not that would have produced the same result is up in the air. The reversal now leaves Cosby's career and reputation in limbo. His conviction, after years of dodging accusations that he had preyed on women, seemed to cap the downfall of one of the world's best known entertainers. Its overturning undid what many women had seen as an early success of the Me Too movement, a ruling which had been praised at the time as a sign that the accounts of female accusers were being afforded greater weight and credibility.
And I believe that's the end.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's something I gotta say initially. Fact of the matter is, if his due process rights had been violated by a lawyer's mistake, even if all that happened was the evidence was not admissible, potentially without that evidence, they could not have made the case against him, so it would have ended up with the same result anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, given that he served 3 years of a quote 3 to 10 year prison sentence, for all intents and purposes, he already served the justice that was imposed on him for what he was accused of doing. So, getting upset that he's not potentially getting a retrial because of this is basically getting upset because you're not looking at all the facts, I think.
Hmm.
And what was it I was going to comment on earlier? It was,
Oh,
let's move up here.
you have the right to your opinion, as always, John, and I
Mhm.
respect your opinion, and as much as I respect you as a friend. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want you to be aware of that. But I do understand where the women are coming from because, okay, in the past, you cannot deny and you cannot say it's not true. There's a lot of people in positions of power that get away with a lot of stupid shit. Okay? It's like the Harvey Weinstein thing. For years and
Mhm.
years and years and years, he was coaxing these women to do what he wanted with the promise of, oh, you'll be a star. I'll make you a star.
Uh-huh.
Um, the thing is, I support the women who use their voice and say that this isn't right because it isn't. To
You're right.
okay, do I agree with the decision? Not entirely, but you are right about one thing. He did serve 3 years.
Mhm.
So I cannot hold it against him. I cannot hold that above his head. He did serve 3 years. I'm I'm not gonna argue about it anymore. Okay?
Right.
Let him live out the rest of his limited number of days. Admittedly, he is an old man. He will pass away sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
No, so leave him be. Let him do his stuff. Let him do himself. Let him live the rest of his life. And when he passes away, well, okay, let whatever kismet comes to him happen.
Frodo, I actually agree with you for a lot of that. The fact is, like you acknowledged, he did serve what, according to the courts, was justice. He did serve a just length to his conviction. What concerns me is the people who are saying in this article that this is a miscarriage of justice because while it is true that that kind of thing happened, It's also true that even when women making accusations of sexual assault speak out, it is unfortunately their job to build the case. Because the fact is, the way it works or is supposed to work in America is that when you're accused of a crime, you're innocent until proven guilty. That
Yep.
means it's your accuser's job, partly, to build the case against you. And the fact is, what basically happened with Cosby was that the people building the case against him accidentally built a flaw into the structure, and that flaw made it collapse later on.
Can I can I can I correct you on one? Well, not correct, but make an observation.
Uh huh.
In cases like this, where an accuser has been violated in some way by the accused, and I'm using accuser accused in this just to be sure. Okay, I do think in some occasions it might be less than ideal for the accuser to be involved because of the mental health strain that being in the room with someone who might have done that to you might cause. Let me,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna hold on a minute, John. I'm
Okay.
gonna make a point. Surely,
Yes.
I know you've never really had this happen to you, but I'm gonna
Needs more.
chuck I'm gonna chuck you under
Uh,
the bus.
wait. Hold on. Janet raised her hand.
No, Frodo started first. Let
O-
him finish.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna chuck you under the bus for a minute. I apologize. I hope you don't get offended by that, okay?
No. It's fine. Probably
But
a hypothetical situation.
Yep.
exactly, that's what it is. Let me ask you, if like let's say when you went to, and I want everyone that's listening to the show, to JC, everyone, this is hypothetical. This never happened. This hasn't happened. It's just something hypothetical that could have happened.
Mhm.
So when you worked with Dragon Con and had to deal with taking picking Walter Jones up from the airport and
Oh,
taking him to the
oh,
hookah
you
bar,
mean what was it called? Gump City Con here.
Gump,
Yeah.
yeah, that Gump City Con,
Mhm.
when you did that,
Mhm.
and let's just say hypothetically, Walter Jones decided to try and take advantage of you.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this from the woman's perspective.
Okay.
Would you have felt very comfortable to confront your accuser knowing that, he's a man was that violated you, and B, he did it while you were in trust with him? Would you feel comfortable facing that man?
I wouldn't be comfortable facing that man, but I sure as hell confront him about it.
Well, confront and face is the
Mhm.
same thing, but here's
Yeah.
the thing. In a lot of cases, when women have been raped,
They
sexually abused, sexually assaulted,
they're scared,
they're scared shitless
which is
because
that makes sense.
Okay, that's the point I was going to take. That's the point I was going to make.
and
Mhm.
A
and
lot of these women, they know that they did it, but a lot of women, they especially when they are buggered by a someone who's well known and famous,
Mhm.
and the public who knows the famous person. I'll just use
well,
Chris
just use the
Hemsworth as an example. You
use
know,
my example, okay?
Yeah,
Because
with Walter Jones and
you know
me.
what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and that's the thing that I really want to make point clear, okay? Am I saying it's right? No. Am I saying it is? Yes. Because here's the thing. When you're, and I'm not a woman, so I can't tell you this from firsthand experience,
Right.
but I can assume, okay? If you're a woman and you have something that you protect, like
Your reputation.
reputation,
Your family.
your family, your sexuality, whatever,
Mhm.
um and it gets taken from you by someone who you thought you could trust,
Uh-huh.
a celebrity in this case,
Mhm.
it puts a strain on your mental health because you, as the person in question who had this happen to them, would have a hard time dealing with.
Right, because back in those days, if women were to come out and say, "Oh, blah 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 did this to me," most people would turn around and say, "Oh, so you want to play the victim, huh? You expect us
And
to believe you?"
that's the
Um,
problem. That's the
Oddly enough,
biggest
though,
problem.
Shirley, long before that, if a woman accused a man of rape, they generally believed her. To
Hmm.
quote biblical history, that was how Potiphar's wife. What happened with Joseph, Joseph in the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat,
Mhm.
was that he was the estate manager of an Egyptian named Potiphar. His wife had the hots for Joseph and tried to seduce him. When he wouldn't give in to her seduction, she accused him of raping
Mhm.
her, and they believed her.
Mm.
Once upon a time, that did generally happen, and it happened up to the age of male chauvinism. Then, when people started realizing that there was a potential for misconduct there, they started having these women build their cases, and it got harder and harder to convict a man accused of sexual assault. The problem is there's a balance point that needs to be hit. You can't just You can neither assume that they're lying all the time or by default, nor can you assume they're telling the truth by default. If you accuse, regardless of your sex, if you accuse anybody of a crime, be it sexual assault, scamming, assault, anything else, you got to prove your case. Even if you don't confront them, you have to, you and the prosecutors have to provide proof that the accused is guilty. Otherwise, it needs to be thrown out because you have to assume the accused is innocent until proven guilty.
Mhm.
And if you can't prove him guilty, that's it.
Yep.
A lot of, but the thing of it is, in my early experience with stuff like this, what I basically discovered was that the proponents seemed to be of a mindset that that in itself wasn't fair, and that if somebody is accused, especially a man is accused of sexual misconduct, he needs to be declared guilty until proven innocent. Because otherwise, you're deliberately disbelieving a sexual assault victim,
Mhm.
which isn't true, of course. It just seems that way. They didn't like it, so they want to change the rules so that it doesn't seem that way. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to
No, no,
No,
no.
stay
no,
on the
But
it's good.
soapbox too long.
but the point that I tried to make, John, and I think you understand it completely, but I want to make sure everyone understands it, is the idea of bringing these charges up for some women is frightening to say the least, because bringing the charges up is a way of giving up more power. When a person commits that kind of offense, they're not really wanting the sex. It's not about the sex.
It's about the power.
Yes,
They
I
It's
want the
understand.
power.
it's about the power, and it's about the control.
Yeah.
And the idea for some women of putting it into a district attorney's hands, right,
Mhm.
is giving up more power. And that scares them. And I can
Well,
understand that.
I understand it too, Frodo. The problem is, Frodo, the implications of what you just described are kind of like the chapter out of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets titled Cornelius Fudge. Here's the thing: what Fudge was doing in arresting Hagrid in that scene, for those of you who've never read it, that's the passage in the second Harry Potter, where Hagrid, who had been expelled from Hogwarts for being accused of opening the Chamber of Secrets and killing one of his classmates, uh, was arrested when the chamber was reopened and sent to Azkaban. When they arrested him, they did so with no proof whatsoever other than his prior accusation, which, for those of you who have read the book or seen the movie, was in fact completely false.
And flimsy, to
And
say the least.
yeah, but most importantly, they did it for the sake of image. They were trying to make
Yep.
it look like they were doing something good. What I for one don't want to see the legal agencies of the United States do is deliberately misprosecute and misconvict somebody accused of sexual assault for the sake of setting the example that leveling the accusation works. That is, gets the
Shirley,
conviction that
hold
you
on a
want.
minute.
Huh?
Don't go to sleep on us.
Sorry, getting tired.
I didn't realize I was that boring.
No, 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 not
Keep
you.
going.
Sorry, I was trying to be funny.
Okay.
But the
Keep
point is,
going. It's just that I want to keep our host awake. Sorry, Shirley.
That's all
No,
right.
you're fine.
the point
Let's.
is, if, and I'm just gonna end my, I guess, partial rant with this.
Okay.
If Bill Cosby was wrongly convicted because the prosecutors messed up in building their case against him, he should not be deliberately denied what justice is meant for him, which is the overturning of his conviction, just so that other people are not, quote, afraid, unquote, of leveling accusations of sexual assault out of fear, due to a fear that the accusation will go nowhere.
All right, let's end this subject because something just crossed my feed that
Uh
pissed me off.
oh.
Go for
Uh
it. Do we need to fire a rant rocket?
We might need to.
oh.
Go
I'm
for
just
it.
gonna I'm just gonna read the headline and you guys decide.
Okay.
Britney Spears' petition to remove father from conservatorship has been denied by a judge.
Oh my
On what
god.
grounds?
I don't know. I just read the headline. I'm jumping into the story now.
All
Okay.
right. Well,
Well,
by all means, read it aloud if you can.
yeah. I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can find it.
It's it's under goodmorningamerica.com and it was just posted today.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
A request by Britney Spears' lawyer to have her father, Jamie Spears, removed from her conservatorship was denied by a judge on Wednesday. The Conservatives' request to suspend James P. Spears immediately upon the appointment of Bessemer Trust Company of California as sole conservator of state is denied without prejudice.
What the now I've heard that term before. What does with and without prejudice mean?
Hold on, let me look it up because actually I'm curious too. Hold on. Sorry, it takes a minute.
She's what, 38 now?
39.
39.
And she's still under her daddy's thumb.
Okay. Dismissed with prejudice is dismissed forever. Dismissed without prejudice is it can be refiled.
So she's
Let's hope she
screwed
does.
then. So she's
No,
basically screwed.
not necessarily. The request was filed in November 2020 when Spears' lawyer said that the pop star was afraid of her father and she could not perform again if he was involved in her. She would not perform again if he was involved. Wednesday's ruling was not only to approve Bessemer Trust as co-conservator, but also rejecting the singer's request to remove her father from involvement. So she got half of what she wanted. She got Bessemer trust, but she did not get her dad removed. The ruling, just a week after Spears, the ruling was signed on Wednesday after a week of that what we reported on last week with the whole on Thursday. I think we did.
Mm-hmm.
Her father responded in separate new court documents calling for an investigation into her crimes.
Her claims of mistreatment.
Yeah, go ahead and continue from there, Shirley, if you
Sure,
got it.
I got it. Lawyers for Jamie Spears noted that Jodi Montgomery, who acts as the conservator for Britney Spears' personal affairs, is the one in charge of the singer's mental and physical well-being. Unlike Montgomery, Jamie Spears does not speak or meet with Miss Spears' medical team, and he is not permitted to, nor does he have the opportunity to provide any input into his daughter's current medical treatment, diagnosis, or therapy, the paperwork reads. Nor does Mr. Spears participate in or discuss Mrs. Spears' personal affairs with her, such as issues related to her self care, marriage, and reproductive desire. Due to the allegations Britney Spears made at last week's hearing, attorneys for Jamie Spears, who noted that he does not wish to serve as the conservator of his daughter's person, say that he's concerned about the singer's management and care. Based on Ms. Spears' statements to the court on June 23, 2021, it is unclear whether it is appropriate for Ms. Montgomery to serve in that role, or for that matter, whether the continued conservatorship of Ms. Spears' person is appropriate, the court documents state. However, Lorianne Wright, the attorney for Montgomery, told Good Morning America in a statement that her client has been a tireless advocate for Britney and her well-being. If Britney wants any issue brought up to the court, Ms. Montgomery is and has always been ready, willing, and able to do so, the statement reads. From the very beginning of her appointment in September 2019, Ms. Montgomery and the medical team that she assembled have had one primary goal: to assist and encourage Brittany in her path to no longer needing a conservatorship of the person. Excuse me. Since 2008, a conservatorship has been in place that prevents Britney Spears, 39, from making any decisions about her personal or financial affairs. At a court hearing last week, the pop star pleaded with a judge to end the conservatorship, claiming that she has been medicated against her will, forced to work, and prevented from getting married or having another child. She also said she wasn't aware that she could petition to end the conservatorship, though she has yet to do so. I've lied and told the whole world I'm okay and I'm happy. It's a lie, the singer said. I've been in denial. I've been in shock. I am traumatized. I am not happy. I can't sleep. I'm so angry it's insane. And I'm depressed. I cry every day. Wright denied that Montgomery has ever had an impact on Spears' choice to marry and to start a family. She also stated that Montgomery's tenure as conservator has been complicated by the COVID-19 pandemic, especially because the pop star lives in Southern California, which had a high infection rate. Brittany is someone who was at an increased risk of severe illness due to pre-existing conditions, the statement reads. A well-renowned epidemiologist was brought onto the medical team, and that doctor's advice was followed to ensure Brittany's safety from exposure to the virus at all times. Attorneys for Jamie Spears, who currently serves as co-conservator of his daughter's estate, said that when he was the conservator of her person, he did everything in his power to support and care for Miss Spears' well-being and her personal decisions. To that end, they noted that Britney Spears became engaged to Jason Trawick in 2011. Though the singer and Trawick split in 2013 without marrying, Trawick served as a co-conservator of the person, along with Jamie Spears from 2012 to 2013. Jamie Spears stepped down as conservator of Britney Spears' personal affairs in 2019. Mr. Spears has dutifully served in various conservative roles for over 13 years on behalf of his daughter, whom he loves unconditionally, the paperwork states. Yeah, right. Although Jamie Spears is not in control of his daughter's personal life, he must approve the expenditure of new services or an increase in existing services, Wright stated. He does not always do so. Wright concluded that Montgomery plans to presenting a comprehensive care plan to the court, which should set forth a plan for the termination of the conservatorship. While it is Miss Montgomery's professional duty to be Brittany's protector and advocate, honoring her wishes and seeing to her best interest while Brittany is under conservatorship, it is her sincere personal wish that Brittany continues to make meaningful progress in her well-being so that her conservatorship of the person can be terminated, Wright's statement reads, and that's the end of the story.
Well, fact of the matter is, She needs to petition if, in fact, she hasn't already. Because Janet, what are you listening to?
Janet,
Yeah, I'm here.
are you listening to something?
What?
Are
I
you
can't hear
listening to
you.
something? Are you listening to a video or something?
I'm not now.
Oh,
Put
okay.
your headset up.
Yeah.
The sound comes through my, you have my thing set up to where the sound comes through my speakers on my computer and not my headphones.
Oh,
Odd.
Frodo.
I'll have to look into that.
okay.
Okay.
Oh boy,
Anyway,
looks like Brittany's drama is gonna keep going, isn't it?
Yes,
well, you know what?
unfortunately.
Remember all the scuttlebutt we heard about her a long time ago?
Yeah.
When was the last time we heard scuttlebutt on her?
Not
I
for a
haven't.
long time.
Then again,
I
I don't pay
know.
attention to it.
Mm.
Oh, one last thing to bring up. Found this out today.
What's that?
Donald Rumsfeld is dead.
Yeah, he died today.
He was 88, I think.
Yes, he was 88.
As long as he died peacefully and comfortably, that's what matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of news today.
Yes. Yes, there is.
Yeah, it's been pretty hectic news day that we're not even able to get to stuff from earlier this week. But just
Well,
to
I will
go
give
ahead.
you a news bite then. California has decided to ban any and all state funded travel to states that have, quote, anti LGBTQ, unquote, laws. That's problematic for a couple of reasons. One, potentially California is going to mess with its economic and governmental affairs doing a stunt like that.
Mm-hmm.
Two, depending on what the criteria are for anti LGBTQ, that could potentially include any state that isn't California. And three, doing that kind of thing is not going to influence states who have laws like that,
Mm-hmm.
or quote, laws like that, unquote, from doing anything about it. Chances are it's just going to make them decide to spite California.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And
Frodo, do you have something you wish to add?
No, I was just being goofy.
Okay.
well,
Okay.
me, I do have one more thing I want to add. Yesterday, yesterday, you're never gonna believe this one. For those of you who I've told the guys here know about this, but all the listeners and viewers, here's something you don't know. Lytton, British Columbia. It's about 162 miles northeast of Vancouver. It destroyed Canada's all-time record high. Are you ready for this? One
121?
121 degrees. This is British Columbia. It is in the northwest. This is not the
That's
southwest. This
one
is not the
degree
south.
shy. That's 1 degree shy of the temperature that shut down Sky Harbor
Mm-hmm.
in 91.
um,
Yeah. Dragon
I
Jones
think
has
I think
Um,
that's like 10 degrees off of the world record high, which was
13
like what?
actually. It was 134 in Death Valley, California.
Yeah,
okay,
something like
guys,
that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I need to add something real quick. A lot of people actually don't know this. A lot of Western Canada is actually sand dunes. So potentially in the summer, when despite the level of insulation, they got really long days at latitude,
Mm.
potentially it can get up that high, especially if there isn't a whole lot of moderation from the Pacific.
Yeah. Well,
In this case, there may
the
not be.
good news is it's in a couple days. It's going to. I think the heat is already starting to break in British Columbia. It's slowly working east. But here's what's interesting. I'm in an area where we're going to be below average for at least the next 7 to 10 days.
Hey, Shirley,
Hmm.
Frodo, or Shirley, count your blessings.
Yeah, I'm going to
Shirley,
enjoy that while I can. What's up, Janet?
could you check the Arizona weather? We had a
Yeah.
lot of thunderstorms pop all around us.
Well, that may say higher.
Oh, so you had popcorn storms. Cool.
Yeah, they
Pop, 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 pop.
yeah,
Yeah.
mostly up north, mostly east and north of us.
Okay, let me take a look. Oh, wait a minute. I could turn on. Well, wait. No, I'll just turn on my this thing right here. Let's see. Go to Skybase in Goodyear. Let's see. You've got some thunderstorms to your southwest, but there's nothing to the northeast.
South and west.
Yeah, there's.
Southwest. It's heading southwest to
Yeah.
northeast, I think. So,
Yeah, it's south of Gila Bend, and it's like.
which direction is it going?
Let me see. Let me play the radar here. It's moving southeast. It's moving away from you.
Blah.
But yeah, that's the story.
Well, I said it before and I'll say it again. The only thing predictable about weather is its unpredictability.
Exactly. It's like I ran into rain going home this afternoon.
I
Very
know. I heard
nice.
it hitting the pavement.
You probably heard it hitting the car.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, I gotta before we go, there's just one more thing. I had to actually take my personal heater to work.
What?
You know why? It has gotten as cold as 67 degrees in that room.
Oh wow.
A sweater now for me isn't enough. I had to bring the heater.
Does the boss understand what the problem is?
Yes. Well, though, see,
Well,
here's the problem. The entire floor, it's all automated, and every single person has a computer with two monitors.
Nice.
I mean, everybody. Even the
well,
receptionist has two monitors. So
I can understand why they got to keep the place that cold. All of the computer equipment.
right. It's
All
just
right.
that the problem is I'll get so cold I'll start feeling feverish and I was like, forget it. Even with a sweater on, it's not doing any good. So I brought in the heater.
One
Proto, you got
last
something?
What's up?
one last story for y'all.
Okay.
Yep.
And this is for some smiles.
Oh, good.
Mm.
It's in the Facebook chat. It should be coming shortly.
All
There
right.
it is.
Oh, I like that already. I'm getting it in there. Okay. Now let me get it. Let me get in all the chats here. Yeah, because you're
I
right. This
just
is a feel-good story. I love feel-good stories. All right.
Me
this one
too.
this one this one just came across my feed from KCRG. You go ahead and read it, Shirley.
All right. Let me just get it into Discord real quick.
Aw. Oh boy.
Okay. So here we go. I'll read this one. Man with Alzheimer's proposes to wife again after forgetting their marriage. So here's what happened. And this was posted yesterday. A Connecticut couple renewed their vows after the husband, who has Alzheimer's disease, forgot they were married but fell in love and proposed all over again. Peter Marshall, no, not that Peter Marshall, he already died. This one is 56. He proposed to Lisa Marshall as the two cuddled on the couch in December 2020. What he didn't realize is that they had already gotten married 11 years prior. Since his diagnosis with early onset Alzheimer's 3 years ago, Peter Marshall's memory has been fading and he often forgets Lisa Marshall is his wife. The two were married in 2009 after an 8-year long distance relationship. But despite the lost memories, Peter Marshall's love for his wife has remained constant. He's so kind, so gentle, so flirty and fun and romantic. He's always been so passionate about our relationship, about me, Lisa Marshall told CNN. So when her husband proposed again, she agreed, not wanting to miss an opportunity to create another beautiful memory with him. It was so touching to me. He fell in love with me twice. I feel honored. I feel like a princess, like Cinderella. I'm the luckiest girl in the world, Lisa Marshall said. The Marshalls renewed their vows in April with the help of a dementia specialist. Peter was bright and present the whole day. He was just so happy. During the vows, he just told me, Lisa, I love you. And that's all I needed. Aw, Lisa Marshall said. We will be together until the end. Nothing can take us apart. And, oh, hello, Alzheimer's. Um, had posted this on Facebook, and it's a little too long. I'll let you read that on your own. Let's see. For now, the Marshalls are facing the reality of Alzheimer's one day at a time. The disease has progressed, causing hallucinations, paranoia, and extreme memory loss. Aww. Lisa Marshall is focused on her husband, but also runs a blog to help other caregivers of people living with Alzheimer's. Good.
So
Nice.
I figured we could end the episode on a smile.
Yeah, and I like what
Definitely,
Sajo.
There we go.
Here's what Sajo said: "Fuck Alzheimer's." That is so true.
I
Yeah, I was
agree.
gonna say it's unfortunately bittersweet for me. My late paternal grandmother suffered from Alzheimer's.
Mm,
Oh, so sorry, John.
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
It,
Because I know. Let's see. I know Pat Summit. She died from dementia, not necessarily Alzheimer's, but it's almost like in the same boat. Uh,
Well,
kind of,
dementia
sorta.
is a form of Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a form of dementia,
Mhm.
just like Asperger's is a form of autism.
Autism, right?
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
right.
Okay, I just wasn't sure about that. Thank you very much, Frodo. I appreciate that. All right, so anyway,
Gotcha.
here's our plan. Tomorrow night, of course, is our Toss Up Thursday, which is going to be Food Fast Nations, the best foods for the summer. And I would not be surprised if watermelon is somewhere on that list. And guess what? Mom is actually trying to grow some watermelons.
If you get
Nice.
any, you have to
I didn't
ship
realize
one
you
to
live down
us.
by the bay.
Did you hear me,
Daffy, please
Shirley?
don't sue us for
Well, we'll see.
copyright.
We'll see what happens about that.
If you get one, you got to ship it to me and Sarah because we love watermelon.
Oh, Dragon Zero on One said, "Can I join for that one?" Absolutely. Hop in tomorrow
Oh,
night.
go
We'd
lay
love to have
down.
you on board.
Go lay down. Thank you. Go lay down with your
Yeah,
brother.
you are more than welcome to hop in tomorrow night.
We're an equal opportunity show, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, if you like watermelon, Jack got a big old whopping watermelon. I think he only paid like $3 for it.
Wow.
Actually,
Nice.
Jan,
And
here's
it's
a
not a
little
little
trick.
one either.
Here's a little trick. Actually, the more condensed a watermelon is, the more sweet it is.
Hmm.
Nice.
Because the big ones usually have a lot of water in them, so they're
Mhm.
good if you're like really super, super thirsty.
Uh huh.
But if you get ones that are smaller, they tend to have a higher sugar to water ratio.
Mhm.
He didn't want to have anything to do with the personal watermelons.
The ones that are like this big, Jan, are like amazing, can be amazingly sweet.
I
Oh
Yeah.
know,
yeah.
but
They could also
we
cost an arm
would.
and a leg too.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway,
Just
we
be
got
sitting
that.
up on the. We
Yeah.
leave it sitting up on the counter till it gets ripe.
Mhm. Let's see. We
All
got
right, I'm
that,
gonna let
and
you
then
guys go.
okay. Yeah, and then of
Well,
course.
hold on, man. Stick around. I got something to show you after the broadcast.
Well, I gotta ask you something anyway. Never mind, I'll stick.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. So anywho, don't forget. Also on Friday we're doing our nearly naughty Mad Libs, and then we will do one special Mad Lib after we get off Twitch, totally uncensored. Okay. I mean,
You
we're talking totally uncensored. So give you the heads up on that. All right, but then don't forget this Monday, maybe the 5th, but we are going to be observing the 4th of July holiday because there's no mail.
Exactly.
Hey, now wait a minute. There's one, two. Hey, where'd Frodo go?
He'll be back in a
He had to
minute.
step up.
There's one, two, three mails. What do you mean no mail? There's one, two, three of them here.
I'm talking about the U.S. mail.
Uncle Sam?
I'm gonna have to go pretty soon
All
because of the
right.
dog.
Okay,
All
well,
right.
anyway, let me play the ending real quick. If I can find the ending. There it is.
Oh, here's something.
Okay. Oh, the road to my heart is what?
Paved with paw prints.
Oh, that's cute. All right.
Nice.
So with that in mind, I'm going to say love, peace, and chicken grease. Everybody have a great night. Sleep well, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow for Toss Up Thursday Food Fascinations, the best foods for summer. Night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Take
Night,
care.
everyone.